When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Join Live Green Tennessee tonight as we check out how Miss Cordelia's Grocery is helping Memphis residents produce their products from start to finish. Plus, we take a look at one couple's dream of opening a winery in Paris, Tennessee, and we find out how one man is perfecting the art of microgreens. All this right here, coming up next on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
and by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, host of Live Green Tennessee, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on tonight's Live Green Tennessee. So, you have a fantastic secret family recipe that's been lovingly handed down from generation to generation. Your friends say you could make a fortune selling that. Well, if you decide to pursue that dream, you may find out that getting your product to market is not an easy task without a little help. Fortunately for artisans in the Memphis area, there's Miss Cordelia's one-of-a-kind neighborhood grocery store that has long been a supporter of local goods. Miss Cordelia's General Manager Tony Owen and Marketing Manager David Thornton are glad to lend a hand to local chefs, bakers, and artisans by helping them take their products through the maze of health department regulations to packaging, marketing, product development, and on to retail outlets. Let's take a look at Miss Cordelia's in this story brought to us by Amy Porter of WKNO.
When people think of local, they usually attach, even non-verbally, the word grown to the end of it. But what we stress is that it's locally produced. We do a local coffee bean. They're roasted and blended locally. However, Memphis is not renowned for its coffee bean plantations, so obviously they import the beans, but they roast them, they bag them fresh. We have a local honey. In fact, I believe we have 2 now. But it's everything from candles to cupcakes and anything you can think of in between. If they can produce it locally and it's good, we will sell it for them. And we will assist them in any way that we can to get them into other local stores also. We're not greedy. We like to see these people succeed.
It's difficult to even get store managers to talk to, at least in my case, to give us an audience. But I came by, my son and I came by and visited with David Thornton here at Miss Cordelia's and brought him a sample of Tom's Tiny Kitchen pimento cheese. Within a couple of days, he called back and said that they wanted to put the product in Miss Cordelia's. From marketing to pricing to placement in the store, they couldn't have been more help than they've been.
But we found that lots of people already had products ready to market, just no place to sell them. Now, they maybe had a farmer's market or two, but beyond that, they didn't have an outlet. You know, this gave them a 7-day-a-week outlet. They can bring their product in, and Tom has been fantastic. He samples for us. You know, that's one of the primary and key things to selling your product locally is let people put a face with the product. You know, that is completely different from a national brand where it's You know, they might market a person on television that you see, and maybe you identify those two things with it. But when you actually meet somebody and they say, "This is mine. I make it with my own hands," that just, it gives it so much credibility, and so it makes it real. It makes the product completely real. We're trying to offer the best product we can to people. These are the best products, and there's somebody in the community making them, and that just makes it even better. It really does. Stephanie's story is a little bit different. She was working for a bakery. The bakery closed down. She came in one day and said, "Is there any way you can help me?" And we thought, well, sure. Why not? You know, let's give you the opportunity. And she came up with her own name for the bakery, or her own product line, and she just basically uses our kitchen. We help her in any type of label making and packaging.
Depending on where a local producer may be, anywhere from the "I've got a great idea" to the "I've got a finished product, can you sell it?" We're willing to work with anyone, whether it's in helping them to advertise it, giving them contacts to sell it in other locations, designing labels, discussing ways to keep their costs down. Anything that relates to the business, what experience we have, we'll happily share. Because it's again, it's good for them, good for us, and good for the community.
The first thing I'll talk about are the legal things: business licenses, insurance, things like that. Once you get over that hurdle, then we'll start talking about, you know, where are you working out of? You know, do you have, is it a health department approved kitchen? That sort of thing. After we cross that hurdle, we'll start looking at, and this is one that does come up from time to time, is it going to compete with something that we already do? Sometimes we let that slide. We let made from scratch cookies. We also bake cookies in-house, but these were so good we thought we can't just let them go.
They have been wonderful in terms of letting me bring my products here to sell, and they have really helped me a lot in terms of advertising and marketing my particular cookies. One lesson I have learned, that you have to keep on pushing your particular product, and you have to trust in yourself and have faith that it will work.
The big benefit for local, to me, is just supporting the people in your community. That's the primary thing. That and some great tasting products. I mean, somebody's really making it by hand, from scratch, and you can taste the difference. You really can.
We're already local, we're already neighborhood. It made a lot of sense to talk to these guys and say, listen, we love your products, our customers love your products. We encourage them to come and see you at the farmer's market, but at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday evening, when they want a jar of your honey, or whatever the product may be, if you work with us, we can make sure that they get it then. It works well for us, and it works well for the people that we do business with. That's why.
There are people out here doing things that not only can we sell, but we should sell, because these things are so, you bring somebody in from the community who makes a product, they sell it, the money goes back into the community, and it's perfect. It really is ideal. So it's just basically being neighborly. You know, the neighborhood grocery store, you act neighborly to everybody that comes in. Answer questions, help them out when you can. It's kind of a karma thing. Good things will come back to you if you offer good things to people.
In the late 1800s, Tennessee was flourishing with vineyards in areas considered unsuitable for other agricultural uses. According to the Tennessee Farm Wine Growers Association, it appeared at the time that the grape would become one of Tennessee's most important cash crops. The Prohibition, however, all but ended this promise in 1919. It wouldn't be until the mid-70s that vineyards saw a comeback in Tennessee, and today our state is flourishing with amateur grape growers and professional vineyards. One couple whose winery started off as a personal venture and now boasts 9,000 vines and 26 wines offers Tennesseans daily tastings, strolls through the vineyards, education on planting your own vines, and various other events. Let's take a look at this story brought to us by Emily Osment at WLJT in Martin, Tennessee.
We found this property and we had so much land. My husband, being the visionary that he is, just wanted to plant a little vineyard and make a little bit of our own wine. So he ordered 5,500 grapes, which is a lot of grapes. So we kind of just, by the time we got done planting those and getting them in the ground, looked at, well, now what should we do with all these grapes? And we decided we wanted to share with the area and kind of just evolved into Paris Winery. We started out with 5 acres and we're looking at about 10 acres now, including blackberries and over 23 varieties of different types of grapes and wine that we make. Paris Winery and Vineyards is a place that you can go in, you can try the wines. We usually like to do 6 at a time, but you can try anything that you'd like to try. We do that 7 days a week during our normal business hours. You do not need an appointment to come in. You can just come in, try some wines. There is no charge for the tasting. And find something you like and you're welcome to purchase it. One of the things that we definitely like to make sure everybody tries is our Tower Red. We have it in a standard 750 milliliter bottle, and then we have it in our Eiffel Tower bottle. And we have people coming from everywhere to come for that Tower Red, and people picking it up for others going, taking it as well. So it's become our signature wine and our top seller of our sweet wines. Tennessee is a great area, has been for us. The soil is real important. We are fortunate enough to have sandy soil. We didn't necessarily look for a location to plant a vineyard, it came afterwards. So lucky enough to have a sandy soil that works great for the vines, and the climate is absolutely perfect. It's not perfect, but a lot like Tuscany in a way. The biggest problem that we have here is actually the moisture. One of the biggest problems that we have is the moisture. Because of the mildew, you'll get downy rot and black mildew, and so that's one of the big problems that we have, along with the birds and the bees. And when it comes to making great wine, we're fortunate enough to have a great winemaker. If someone was looking to do a little small vineyard or maybe a little winery, my advice would be to start small and kind of work as you go, not to start too big, and talk to your local co-op, and extension agents are fantastic. We've tried our best to fill the needs of our guests. We've added a little restaurant, Ruggiero's Italian Bistro, which is just to complement the wine so that people can get something to eat, and you can get a bottle of wine and bring it in and have with your lunch or meal. We do the murder mystery dinner theaters in the restaurant as well, which are a blast. We do those in the winter from January, February actually is our first one for Valentine's Day through Mother's Day, and then we'll do our concerts in the vineyards through the summer, April through October, and those are always jazz, easy listening music, and it's an outdoor, out on the stage, and people will bring out their favorite lawn chair or picnic blankets. You're welcome to bring out a picnic basket. But we keep the restaurant open late on concert nights so that you can get something to eat and get a bottle of wine and just go hang out on the lawn and listen to some great music. This is a family-owned and operated business. We have my husband, Roger Ruggiero, so Roger in Italian, and our daughter, Diana, has came out from California to help us start this winery, and it's just, without each one of us, Roger is the vineyard manager and the winemaker and chief bottle washer, and Diana's helped open up the restaurant as well, but managing in the winery. We've designed all the labels. Her and I have designed the labels. She does our website, and it's just been a complete, I do more of the probably out running around talking to people and PR, and each one of us have just an important role. Without one of us, I don't know if the others could do it or would want to do it. keeping up with the facilities and the grapes with over 10 acres is kind of a full-time, pretty much full-time job. Now during this time of year, of course, it's a lot of work. We're actually having to shave some of the foliage off of the vines so that we can get to the clusters of grapes. We have out there now our harvesters, our volunteer harvesters, which is fantastic. We've got 6 out there today. Some have come from a couple hours away to just come out and harvest, and then we do they work for wine, and we'll do a harvester's luncheon. Later they're coming back to see how the process is done, and they'll get to go in and watch and maybe help with the crushing of the grapes and the different avenues and get to see what all goes into it.
What I'm doing is actually looking into the vine here and looking for the dark blue, purplish looking grapes, and what I'm going to do is, check and see if they're fully ripe enough to be picked, and sometimes there will be some green ones still on there, and I'll pull those off and we'll get a decent cluster. And that's about the gist of all we do, is just keep picking and pulling and trimming and getting the ripest ones we can. There's always a few that are the sun hasn't quite got to, so they're a little underripe, but we do what we can do and try to get the best ones we can so we get a good product in the end.
It's a process. It takes a little time, and what we're picking today won't be on the shelf probably for 8 months to a year. So it just takes time. You gotta have patience doing this.
This community is absolutely fantastic. We are just so happy to be here. They have welcomed us with open arms. It's been great to share with them the wines. A lot of folks have never had a wine that they liked, didn't know they even liked wine because they've had wine someone else had at their house or tried to buy by looking at the label, and so it's been really fun sharing with them, as well as they've taken a ownership. It's like, this is our winery, so it's fabulous how they'll bring out friends and family and anybody new that they run into that hasn't been out here and bring them out. You gotta go see the winery. It's just been fantastic.
Live Green Tennessee recently visited CC Gardens, where a small hobby of growing heirloom tomatoes turned into a business that now provides microgreens for 13 Nashville area restaurants. Owner Charlie Crawford showed us that planting, growing, and selling these greens is no small feat.
It all really started as a hobby. I've always liked to grow heirloom tomatoes. I started taking the extra heirlooms I had to Eastland Cafe, to Hal, and one winter he came to me and said, your tomatoes are better than any tomato that I've received from any other gardener. And that inspired me to start growing more tomatoes. But I'd always had a desire to supply restaurants with fresh herbs. It was something I thought that I could do because I like to grow things, and it was through the process of getting material to start a garden one year that I came across an article that was all about growing microgreens. I'd never heard of microgreens. By the time I finished the article, I realized, oh my gosh, there's what I was wanting to do. Those are herbs that I can grow in my space and send to just about any chef in Nashville. And they may not want it, but they're going to be impressed with it. I went to Home Depot and picked up a pack of seeds and brought them home and propagated them on another substrate that I had and took them to Hal at Eastland Cafe. And I said, what do you think of this? And he said, well, I'll buy that all year long. Well, that got the wheels a turning in my head, and I was like, well, if Hal will buy it, who else will buy it? Well, it was only natural that I would go to their sister restaurant, Park Cafe, and they would be my second clientele. And from there, the business grew because I have 13 other restaurants now that are all very proud of this that they have, and they all want to, educate others about it. I have Crimson Tide mustard, Mizuna, sorrel, radish, cilantro, bull's blood beet, 2 types of basil, fennel, and the list grows. The first step to growing microgreens is to cut the rock wool. Here we have the 8x8 squares that the product is grown on. What it is, it's rock wool. It's all manufactured the same way. It's chalk and rock. It's heated to 3,900 degrees and it's spun, much like cotton candy. It's a really lightweight product. It's sterile, and I found it most appealing because it wasn't dirt. And I felt like it was safe to take into a clean environment such as the kitchen. It's not able to be considered a organic substance, but I do grow it in a very organic manner. The only thing that you need to do in preparation to grow is to soak it in a very high pH balance solution of water. And what that does, it enables the rock wool to take up nutrients. Without soaking it, it is a very low pH. So by soaking it, it brings it to a neutral pH so that it will take up nutrients easily. The next step is to propagate the seed onto the rock wool surface, and I generally like to do it in a real simple way, just with a bowl and tapping of my fingers has been the best process I've found. Seeds usually like to have a little bit of moisture on top as well as on the bottom, which is what the rock wool is doing. Adding additional moisture on the top of it simulates Mother Nature's raining onto the spring damp soil. So I like to use a little handheld sprayer and just give it all nice, a little even coat. Okay, so now we've cut the rock wool. The rock wool's been soaked. We've propagated the seed in the rock wool. Now it's time to put it on the heat mat. It's called a propagation mat, and it's controlled by a thermostat. Thermostat set between 75 and 82 degrees that simulates Mother Nature. So after a period of approximately 24 to 48 hours, it's then time to move the seed under the light. As you can see, the seed has just started to show a little bit of green. That means that it needs light. I'll put it under fluorescent light. It's a T5 fluorescent. It's made for growing. Doesn't use much electricity. After a couple of days, this is what it'll start to look like, with the end result being this. This is basil genovese and opal basil combined. It takes about 18 days to get this basil to this point. So as you can see, it all grows pretty fast. Today's order is going to go out to Watermark and Eastland Cafe and Mitchell's Deli. Some of my other clients include 360 Bistro, Flight, Hillwood Country Club, Mad Platter, Park Cafe, Sambuca, just to name a few. Tray them up, put names on them, send them out to the chefs. All right, Hal, here it is, tiny green things, just like you wanted. Look at that.
Delicious. So you're bringing me some more on Friday?
Yes, I am. I have extra. Ready.
Yeah, man, this will get me through the week, and then I'll probably need 6 more.
Great.
We've been getting microgreens from CC Gardens here at Eastland Cafe now for probably going on 3 to 4 years. We buy about 12 to 15 flats a week. We use them, obviously the basil we use to garnish our margarita pizza with. And then a lot of the other different kinds of microgreens, the Mizuna, the Crimson Tide, red mustard, the arugula, the amaranth, we use on the hotline during service to garnish the pork belly dish, some of the fish dishes. We use a blend of the microgreens for some of the dishes. For some of the dishes, I'll just use one of the microgreens. The amount of flavor that's in something so small, they're still very powerful in the way that they taste. So not only are they beautiful and still alive, and they're a great garnish to finish a dish, but they're also a great showpiece in the kitchen for the chefs and the guests to start a conversation with one another and learn more about what we're actually doing here at Eastland Cafe and what our goals are as a kitchen.
My profession before getting into growing microgreens was to take old houses in East Nashville and rehab them and turn them into something beautiful again. It's take more or less the same thing I'm doing here. I'm taking something that's nothing and making it into something that's beautiful. I'm now into what I like to refer to as my recession reconstruction project. In fact, CC Gardens microgreens kept me from losing my house. If it were not for this hobby and my love of growing things, you know, I don't know what I've done without it. And this, I hope, is going to be the turnaround.
We hope you'll join us next time on Live Green Tennessee when we feature new stories and bring you more exciting news about Tennessee markets, farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh and living green possible for us all. Right here next time on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
and by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education,